Hello, welcome to the E09 Show. I'm your host, John Malone. In this episode, no regulars, because reasons as always. As for our guest, she's from Tampa, Florida. She's a best-selling author, a Feng Shui practitioner, interior and biophilic designer. Wow, that's a mouthful. Ladies and gentlemen, I'll give you Alejandra Brady.
Hello, thanks for having me. Good job on the name.
Thanks. So, how's life?
Life is good. Life is busy. Life is fun. All the things.
Fabulous. Is there anything you're currently working on or up to recently?
I am in the middle of working on my book, and I have a lot of other projects going. Actually, aside from work stuff, my husband's going in for a knee replacement at the end of the month, so that will be fun. So I will be a caretaker as well in a month's time. But other than that, just spending a lot of time with my clients and on my little book tour here.
Nice, very nice.
Yes.
What is this book you're writing?
The book is written, so I guess I said that incorrectly at the beginning. The book is written. It is called I Just Can't Make This Shit Up. And it is about my spiritual journey that started at the age of 50. And it has been around for about 2 years and has now become a bestseller. And it's won 3 awards too. So I'm incredibly grateful that it is resonating with people out in the world. I get DMs from people all over the world who are reading it, and that makes me feel very, very grateful.
Yes, absolutely. Are there any jobs or opportunities you haven't done yet that you would like to do someday?
I would love to call in maybe a Feng Shui television show. I think that would be really fun.
Okay.
And just help people, because I am an interior designer, and I have been for over 20 years. And then at 50, I also decided to learn Feng Shui. So I studied for a year until I was certified under a grandmaster. And I incorporated that into my design practice. So I think it would be really, really fun to incorporate both design and energy work into a TV show to really help people align their homes, not just beautifully, but energetically.
Nice, very good.
Yeah. So that's on the wish list. We'll see. One step at a time, right?
Yes, indeed. So, what inspired you to become a Feng Shui practitioner or interior and biophilic designer?
Biophilic. Yes, that is a mouthful. I agree with you. So
Yeah.
it started with interior design. I have been doing interior design, as I said, for over 20 years professionally. Honestly, ever since I was a child, I would do and redo my Barbie dream homes, they'd have a makeover every week or so. So I've always loved interior design and I've always used it. But when I was 50, I needed to have a very unexpected cervical fusion, which means that I have a plate in my neck that is holding my neck up with 6 screws and cadaver bones and mesh and all sorts of stuff to hold me up together. And I called in a Feng Shui practitioner to help get my bedroom aligned for my recovery because I knew it was going to be quite a long recovery in a neck brace, which means I couldn't do anything else. I couldn't drive for weeks and weeks and weeks. I couldn't work. I couldn't read. There was not much I was going to be able to do except lay around, and I wanted my bedroom energetically aligned for my recovery. And once I did that, the change in our home, both my husband and I really noticed such a huge change. We started doing all the other rooms after my recovery, and then by the end of doing our home, we decided that this was something I really should incorporate and learn as a modality to bring to my clients and help them as well, because it can do a lot to help you energetically with your home and call in opportunities, help with wealth, help with health, help with finding relationships, whatever it is that you are desiring. Working with Feng Shui and working with energy can help that manifest for you.
Yes, I can see that.
Mm-hmm.
If you were given 500 acres of land, what would you use that land for?
Oh my goodness. That is a lot of land. I think part of it I would leave wild because how beautiful would that be just to have nature? I love being in nature and spending time in nature. I would love to create a wellness center that people from all over the world could come to and have practitioners from all over the world come with all sorts of different modalities so that people could get better from the inside out. Not just about dieting and exercising, although food is important and, managing weight and all that stuff is important, but really just working on emotions and insides and getting to the root of why we are the way we are and coming out lighter and brighter on the other side.
Yes, of course. Would you rather speak all languages or talk to animals?
Ooh, well, I speak 3, so I would rather be able to talk to animals. I just think that'd be the coolest thing in the entire world to be able to speak to animals. I feel like I kind of can. I mean, not really, but we have 4 dogs. So you learn to speak dog at some point when you've got so many of them. They're all rescues. But it would be amazing to get to speak to animals.
Yes.
How about
course.
you? What would you pick?
Well, to be honest, I would like to speak all languages. If your mind was an island, what would it look like?
It'd be very busy. I feel like I'm very busy all the time. There would be people zipping all over it. I would like to calm it down a bit, that is for sure.
Yeah, indeed. If you can watch one movie again for the first time, what movie would that be?
Princess Bride. It's my favorite movie.
That's nice. What would you do if you found out you won the lottery?
I think I'd go back to those 500 acres. I really like the idea of doing something like that. So I'd go buy 500 acres somewhere and create that center.
Yes, great idea.
Yes, and travel. We love to travel, so I would continue to travel the world.
Yes, of course. If you were hosting a dinner party and you can invite 5 guests who are either dead or alive, who would you invite?
5 of them. My grandmother, because I found out after she passed away that she had a lot of the spiritual gifts that I have, but we never had the opportunity to discuss it because I didn't realize I had them until I was 50. I think maybe some of the grandmasters who have passed, who are Feng Shui teachers, so that I could just ask them directly, any questions that I may have. I think that would be interesting. Archangel Michael, because he is the one that started me on the path to write my book. He is the one that came through to me in a meditation and said that I needed to write a book. And my husband and my son, because they're just always fun to have at dinner parties. Great conversationalists.
Nice, very good. Would you teleport yourself 500 years into the past or 500 years into the future?
Well, I have done quite a few past life regressions, so I know where I've been in the past. So I guess I'd go with the future.
Yeah, I'd say the same.
Yeah, it's really been fun to kind of get a glimpse into, and understand why I am the way I am in this lifetime because of what I've gone through in previous lifetimes. So yeah, let's go forward and see what's going to happen.
Yes, of course. What's the best thing you have ever bought off Amazon?
Oh God, that is almost impossible. Honestly, I buy a lot off of Amazon. Okay, one thing that I bought just because it came so fast and it really helped me out. I bought a great dress that I ended up taking to Egypt and I wore quite a few times on our trips. I was missing clothes that had long sleeves and you have to be covered when you're over there. And I needed some more and I needed it fast and it got here in like hours. So I'll give it that one.
Yes, Amazon is so convenient these
days. They get you out of some jams, don't they?
Oh yes, absolutely. Where is the best place to explore?
Well, I just came back from Egypt and that was pretty incredible. But I have also been to Peru, to Machu Picchu, and we got to wander around there too, and that was amazing. I'd say any place can be an incredible place to explore if you walk into it with a beginner's mind and just really curious about where you're at. They're all fun, you can explore New York City, you can explore London, you can explore any place if you just go in there with the mindset to see what you're going to discover that perhaps you haven't noticed before, even if you've been there multiple times.
Yeah, I can see that.
Mm-hmm.
If someone wrote a book about you, what do you think its title would be?
The girl who wrote the book called I Just Can't Make This Shit Up, because that is what everyone's like, why would you use that title? I'm like, because I can't. If somebody had asked me to write this book, I couldn't have made up the stories that actually happened to me. So people get very caught up in the title. So I guess that would be part of the title if people were to write a book about me.
Yes, of course. Have you ever met anyone famous?
Quite a few people. Yes, I have several clients that are famous. I've had sports figures and other famous people, quite a few. Yes, I have. How about you?
Well, firstly, where I'm from, I live near a particular part of the city that I'm from, where there's tons of television studios, and it contributes to like nearly half of my country's media.
Wow.
So I'm going to be shrouded by tons of well-known individuals in my lifetime.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, at some point I would have met people in public. I wouldn't have said hi to them because, well, I'm not as big of a fan to them as anyone else, but I know they're well known and they have a purpose in television, game shows, or
Mm-hmm.
soap operas, etc. But of course, there are a few that I've actually known in person. In fact, one actually went to my sister's high school before she and I were working at a theatre project just like a few months before you know what happened, and we were locked in our homes for the last 2 years. So yeah, I've met a handful of well-known people, both
And
in my country and in the US as well.
right. And I do the same thing you do. I do not, I don't bother anybody. If they're out at a restaurant or we're in the same hotel or whatever the situation is, I'm not going to go up to anybody and say anything. But if somehow we're introduced or we're at an event where everybody is talking, then yes. But yeah, I don't fangirl out. Same as you.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, there may be celebrities, actors, things, etc., but they're people like us, and they
Of
have their
course.
own lives before they've even become well known to a
Hmm.
lot of people.
And the ones that are my client, I think they love the fact that I don't do that, so they feel very comfortable having me in their homes and working on their projects because I'm not like that. There's a couple that I didn't even really know who they were until the wife told me, oh, by the way, my husband's blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, oh, okay. So it's all good.
Yeah, of course. What is your favorite season?
Fall. I love the fall.
Ah, yes. Yes.
I just
I
like
kind
when
of
it's,
like
well, we
fall.
live in Florida, so it gives us a little break in the weather for us because other than that, it's just hot the rest of the year. So we get a little bit of a break, and I love the leaves turning. I love that whole time of year.
Yeah, me too. Do you have any pets?
We have 4 rescue dogs, so we have a busy little household.
Yes, of course.
How about you?
Well, I remember years ago, me and my sister always wanted either a dog or a cat, but my parents have always said no, because if we got a pet, they'd be the one ending up taking care of it themselves.
Very true. It does happen.
Yes, of course.
It's a lot of work. They're a lot of work, but they bring a lot of joy. So we're happy to have been able to take them in and let them live out the remainder of their years in a happy, healthy, safe environment.
Yes, absolutely. What is the one thing that puzzles you every time you think about it?
It used to puzzle me. It doesn't really puzzle me anymore. What happens when you die? I'm now okay with not knowing. So I don't, I just think that there's so much more out there that we don't know and that we will never know. And so I'm not going to continue to try and wrap my head around it. And because I do have mediumship abilities and because people who have passed communicate with me, I understand that there is something that will happen to all of us when we cross over. So it's not as much of a puzzle anymore. And the parts of it that are, I just don't worry about.
Yeah, so true. What is your favorite quote?
The Dr. Seuss quote. Let me see. I hope I can get it right. Be who you are and say what you mean, because those, oh, I'm not going to get it right. Be who you are and say what you mean, because those that matter don't mind, and those that mind don't matter. There you go.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes, and I had to really lean on that one when I was writing because I knew that I was going to ruffle some feathers with the book, and I had to just not worry about telling my truth and, letting things land where they are going to land. And true enough, the ones that minded no longer matter, and the ones that didn't mind are the ones still in my life.
Yes, indeed. If you had a song for every time you enter the room, what song would that be?
I really do have one that I want for when I start speaking in public in large places. It's Queen, Don't Stop Me Now.
Nice.
I love that song. I picked it out. I was watching the movie, right? And at the very end of the movie, he starts playing it as the credits are rolling. And I'm like, that's the song I've been looking for. I love that song.
Who doesn't love that song?
I know, it's so good. And I am having such a good time. So don't stop me now.
Fair enough, fair enough. Would you sleep on the wall or sleep on the ceiling?
I can't even fathom that. Would you be upside down?
Maybe.
Oh my goodness. I'm just going to go with wall. I don't know why. I'm just going to say wall. I don't think I'd want to be upside down. I feel like I'd have a headache.
Yeah, fair enough, fair enough. It's gonna happen.
I think that's the wildest question I've ever gotten. I love it.
Fair enough, yeah. If you could live anywhere in the world, where would it be?
Well, we had the opportunity. We lived in Sedona during that time that you were just referring to earlier, and that was incredible. It is just a very magical place here in the United States. And we chose to come back to Tampa. We could be anywhere we wanted to because both my husband and I work and can be anywhere. And so we chose to come back here. So I guess I'm going to go with Tampa.
Fair enough, yes.
It's beautiful. I mean, I love visiting everywhere else, but I do call this home. I love it here.
Yes, nothing beats Florida.
No, it's pretty sweet.
Yeah. What is your favorite?
Place? Where would you live?
Oh, yes, I'd like to live somewhere warm and sunny. So somewhere in the Mediterranean or the Caribbean. So I'm also open.
The Caribbean gets a lot of hurricanes. Stay with the Mediterranean.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah. But I'm also open to like very chilly places as well. But of course, I'm always going to stick to warm places because at least I get vitamin D every now and then.
Mm-hmm. And it's just, life is easier when you're not fighting the elements all the time. I've lived in cold places too. And it's just, having to go outside and scrape the snow off a car to get to class or whatever. It's hot and it's pouring rain outside right now, but that's fine. It's just so much easier in the long run.
Yes, absolutely. Would you ever try space tourism?
Needs to get a little bit better. I think right now I'd still be too nervous that I wouldn't come back.
Fair point.
Yeah.
It's going to take a while.
At some point, yes. If it gets to the point where it's safe to do it, I would certainly do it.
Yeah, I'd say the same.
Yeah, just not willing to be the guinea pig yet.
Fair enough, yes. Where do you see yourself 20 years from now?
Oh, goodness. Well, 20 years from now, I will be 57 next month. So 20 years from now, I'll be 77 years old. I would hope that by then I will have helped a lot of people. I will have reached a lot of people. If I was still physically able to, I'd love to still be working one-on-one with clients or teaching workshops or speaking to people, and in large audiences and large groups. So I think I'm still going to be able to do what I do for a while, and hopefully it just gets to be bigger and bigger audiences so we can help more and more people around the world.
Sounds good. Very good.
And some travel and some downtime, right? Because at 77, I'm going to need a little downtime.
Mm-hmm. Indeed. What could you give a 40-minute presentation on without any preparation?
Feng Shui.
Yes, of course.
Hours. I could do hours of it. I could do a day of it if I needed to.
Yes, of course. What incredibly common thing have you never done?
Well, I just learned how to ride a bike a few years ago, so that was probably going to be the number one that most people would be shocked to hear because most people learn as children. But I never learned as a child for multiple reasons, so I just learned how to do that a couple of years ago. I'd say that's probably the most common.
Hmm. Yes. I remember when I was like 12, I rode a bike for the first time. I didn't think I would be staying up. I thought it would just fall down. Like, "Whoa!" But but eventually, I just got the hang of it. I was like, "How am I doing this? I have no idea." But hey, the rest is history. So
Yep. I
if I
was
want to ride a
50.
bike, I can do it.
I was 51. So I was in a back brace as a child for scoliosis, and we also lived right on the border with Mexico. So Spanish is my first language, English is my second. And my parents were very afraid that we would get kidnapped as kids if we rode on the streets. So they never let us. Well, that's not true. They did say we could learn if we rode it inside the backyard. And I was just stubborn and said, well, I'm just going to go around in little circles. What's the point? So I never learned. And I'm
Fair
still
enough.
not good, but at least if I had to get on a bike and go, I could do it.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah.
What is the strangest dream you have ever had?
Oh, well, there's a lot of them in my book. I've had a lot of very strange visitations and dreams because, again, I have mediumship abilities, so people who have passed come to me. So sometimes it's quite difficult for me to differentiate if it's a dream or if it's a visitation. But I had a really scary one where I had a little girl sitting on my chest and I couldn't move and I couldn't breathe. And I found out the next day that we were at a resort in Mexico, and I found out that the resort that we were staying at was built on an ancient Mayan burial ground. So there's that. So that was pretty scary and unusual as far as a dream or visitation goes.
Yeah, I can see that. If life was a game, like most people would say, what are some of the rules?
That I would want? Is that what you mean?
Yeah, if life was a game, like most people would say, what are some of the rules?
I just feel the rules that I like are for people to be honest and not be hypocritical. I don't like when things apply to one person, but they don't apply to themselves. I think it should be fun. It should be adventurous. And it should be fair.
Yes, I definitely agree with that. Alright, now this one is an absolute doozy.
Oh, good God, really? Because the
Oh,
other ones haven't been.
Yes. Would you rather not be able to open closed doors or not be able to close open doors?
Oh my gosh. Open closed doors or close open doors?
Mm-hmm.
I don't even know how to answer that question. I guess open and close? Is there an answer to that question? What the hell? Are you smoking something or drinking something? What is happening on your end of things?
No, I haven't drunk any alcohol in the last 3 months.
Good
And
for
I
you.
barely smoke.
Good for you. Open, close? I guess I don't know. Okay, I take back my previous answer. This is the craziest question I've ever been asked.
Mm-hmm.
Very funny. What was your answer
Yes.
to that question?
So I would say not be able to close open doors because there's so many opportunities that are yet to be discovered.
Yep, I agree.
Yes, of course. Would you rather never use social media again or never watch another movie or TV show again?
Oh my goodness, I'd be so happy to give up social media. Easily. That's an easy question. I do it because I need to for my business. And it is fun. I mean, it is a great way to keep in touch with people. But yes, happily give up social media.
Sounds good, yes. Because besides getting information about the world, what else social media is used for other than getting us trapped and induced in what's around us?
And
instead of just
the comparing of everything, right? I mean, everybody's
Yeah.
trying to, and I also feel, I try and be really, really authentic on my Instagram, and the main reason I use it for is to share Feng Shui information with people. But I just feel like, in general, people seem to feel bad about themselves if they spend too much time on social media because it's constantly a comparison. And probably what you're seeing isn't even real. I've seen so many people just walking down the street taking a picture in front of a car and then they post it and pretend it's their car. Like, you have no idea what's real and what isn't out there.
Yes, So true. You can't trust anyone these days.
Mm-mm. I mean, if AI can create dragons, you really don't know what is real and what isn't real
It's
out
over.
there.
It's definitely over.
I want one of those. I told my husband for my birthday, that's what I want, is I want one of the dragons from House of the Dragons. He just looked at me and like, well, that's what I want. They're so freaking real.
Yeah, it's absolutely wild. What is your favorite holiday tradition?
I love making them. Well, I don't make them because I never learned, but there was a big tradition, again, growing up in a Mexican-American household over Christmas, eating tamales. And they are just yummy, and making the homemade salsa. I do know how to make the homemade salsa and all that stuff for them. But just the tradition of eating tamales on Christmas Eve is one that I have always loved and try as much as I possibly can to still do if we're going to be, in town or home for the holidays. But now that our son is married, things are changing a little bit, and we've been traveling a lot over the holidays, so it's not always possible. But when it is, that's what I try and do.
Yeah, got to do what we can.
Yes. How about you?
Well, every Christmas, my family prepares a roast dinner, preferably some turkey and some, I don't know what they're called, but there's parsnips and Yorkshire puddings
Mm-hmm.
and a bit of gravy as well. There's mash and peas. And yeah, it's quite a vibe and very nostalgic at that time of year. And yeah, it's the rest is history, I guess.
And it has to be made the same way, right? We do that for Thanksgiving. Like, you can't mess the recipes up. You can't try something new. Nobody wants anything new. Everybody wants it exactly the way they've eaten it their entire life growing up. I always find that
Yes.
funny because I'll be like, let's try something. No, we do not try anything new. I want it to taste exactly the way it has for the past 20 years. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, because if it isn't broken, why
Don't
fix
fix
it?
it. Right. Don't fix it.
Yes, it is what it is. It takes us back.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. And that is all we have for this episode. It's great having you on, Alejandra, talking about your author work, feng shui, designer work, and so much more. It's been great.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. It was a lot of fun. You caught me off guard with some really great questions. So keep that up. It's fun.
Yes, absolutely. And until next time, stay tuned for more.